Hello and welcome back. So now we have in the user service, the buyer service and the seller service. It's appropriate that we add the services, the appropriate services as well to the API gateway. Okay, so we are going to start with the buyer service. So go to your API gateway, source, services, API. And here I'm going to create a buyer.service.ts file. Okay. So for this, it's going to look similar to what we have in the auth service. Okay, so it's going to look very similar. Let me copy some of the imports. Okay, we get Axios, we get config. Let me add these two right here as well. And then we need to create our auth instance. Now this, I'll name it differently. So the Axios auth instance, I'll call this Axios buyer instance. Okay. Now let me create the class. This will be buyer service, and I can then create an instance of this service, okay, or export an instance of this service. So export const buyer service of type buyer service equal to new buyer service. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add what we need. If we go to the auth service, I think we can define, we don't need this, okay? We don't need this. What we need to do is, for the Axios service, remember for the Axios service, we just need to pass in, if I go to Axios service, we just need to pass in the base URL and the service name. And the service name is really important because we will need it in the gateway middleware right here. So you can see right here, we will need to pass seller and we need to pass buyer. Okay, so we need those. Now, I think I can copy, let me copy this part. In the buyer service, I'll create a constructor. Okay, and I'll say const Axios service equal of type Axios service equal to new Axios service. Now I need to change this. This will be users base URL, and then here it's going to be buyer, and then here as well it's going to be buyer. Okay, and now let us set this Axios buyer instance equal to Axios service dot Axios. Okay, so let's quickly make one change so that we don't forget. Let's go to, in the API gateway, go to your server file. If we scroll up, let's say, yes, here, we need to do the same thing here. So I will just duplicate this and then copy this Axios buyer service. Okay, we need to add the bearer token. Okay, so that any request being sent will be added. It will be added to that request. Okay. So make sure you add this line, okay, the Axios buyer instance.default.header. We want to add a JWT token to the authorization. Okay, now let us create our first method. I think we are going to have only 3 methods here. So the first one, async get, I'll call it get current user or get current buyer by username. Okay, and then this will return a promise of Axios response. Okay, and then here we say const response of type Axios response equal to await, and now we can use this Axios buyer instance dot get, and then here we just pass slash username, and then we return response. Okay, so this is the first method, get current buyer by username. Let me duplicate this. The next one is going to be get current buyer by, this is just get buyer, not get current. So this is going to be get buyer by username. So this is going to take in a username property of type string. And then here we are going to use backticks. So backticks / and then we add username. Okay, and then lastly I can copy this This is going to be get buyer by email, and here it's going to be email. Okay, they are all get HTTP verbs. Okay, so this is just what we need inside our buyer service. In the next video, we are going to add for our seller service.